You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back. It's your friends at Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Hey guys, I worked at Chi-Chi's a long time ago, and there was a guy that was crazy that worked there. Really nice guy, washed dishes.
You have to warn us an anecdote is coming. You can't just launch into an anecdote.
I thought there was a bumper that played before that.
You have to formally announce you have an anecdote.
Yes.
Anecdote. This guy, he was on the news the other night. He stabbed somebody with a pitchfork.
I saw that.
I did too.
I know that guy really well.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to antagonize him, and it may have pushed him to madness.
Wow.
He was crazy. I remember I freaked me out after having worked with him for about 10 years, and his mom drove him to work every day. One day he was driving a car, and I saw him. It was like seeing a dog drive a car. I was so freaked out. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? I was like, Dave, do you think it's a great idea? He's like, I don't know. It's like, well, but I feel sorry for him because he's got something a little wrong. He was in a wreck when he was younger, and he's still like got his wits about him, but he's a little off, obviously, and he super nice though. And he just liked to garden and everything, but I'm sure there was some sort of family dispute. I personally think that he was just trying to social distance, and he likes it. He was trying to keep people like a pitchfork length away from him, and he may have got a little stabby.
Hey, we're all learning the rules of this new system.
I know.
Yeah.
You got to cut people some slack.
That's right.
Anyway, I also thought of.
Oh, wait. Before we move on.
What?
After we're done, can you send me the Chi-Chi's recipe for the steak El Paso? And what kind of barbecue sauce they use?
Steak El Paso. It was their own barbecue sauce. It was a good barbecue sauce.
Oh my God.
Yeah, steak El Paso was slathered with the barbecue sauce. Came with 2 pepper jack enchiladas with Tex-Mex sauce.
Yes.
I know.
Oh my God.
Pepper jack cheese on top and inside.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. So you guys have seen all of those quarantine houses memes going around. Which house would you want to live in? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We're doing the Ka-Pow quarantine house. It's going to be 3 houses you can live in. It's your 3 dads here. It's which house you Cliff house, Jordan house, or Seth house. And we're going to pick right now. I've got a handful of guests from the podcast. So we're going to reach in and pull one out. So this one's for Cliff. This person's going in Cliff's house. And I'm just going to keep doing this across the board. This is Jordan. This is me. And I'm going to split them out here. And I'm going to read off who's in each house.
I'm kind of sick of my own house at the moment. So if I had the chance to visit anyone's house, I'd be down for it.
Some people are coming over. We're going to send out the call. All
Man,
right.
have we had that many guests on? That was quite a whole handful.
Yeah, I had to cut some people.
Man.
Okay, let's see. Let's open them up here. Wow. All right. Jeez. Okay, holy mackerel. We're going to have some messed up houses, Jordan. Because in Cliff's house, he has Coach Mayer and Valerie.
Oh, man.
We're having Coach Mayer and Valerie. Good luck.
We're having a dinosaur strawberry shortcake party.
And you got Russ.
Jeez.
Cassidy. And I'm going to throw a wrench in. Justin also. You got Justin. So that's a pretty good house because I know some of the names in these other ones. We got a mess coming up.
Yeah, I don't even know who's left.
Okay, well, you're about to find
out. Family has decided to go to your house instead of mine.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's see. Wow, I'm just kind of scared who's in my house. Okay, so okay, Jordan, in your house. Well, wait a second. I'm going to look at mine. It might be funny to read mine first. Yeah, this is not good already. I have a house. No, there's something. Okay.
These are friends of ours, right? These are people we like.
I don't care.
Who used to like us?
I don't care. Whatever. Okay. Well, let's just go. In my house, I have Michael and Ronald P. Trump.
Well, there's no way around that.
Yeah.
They're separate entities, though. Also, Bucky.
Okay.
And the bottlenecker himself, Remington.
Well, Remington adopted Bucky legally, so
right. They get their own room.
Again, these are all package deals. It's all makes
sense. Michael has to stay with Ronald P. Now, okay, Jordan, at your house, you have Jesse. You got Jesse. That's a good one. Mario.
Oh no!
Never forget Mario, our guest. He gives out. I heard he gives out mustache rides. So you have Corbin, the mystical intern.
Okay.
And Pumpy Toes.
Ma, it's a Pumpy Toes party. We gotta go there.
All right, so all you listeners out there, decide which house you want to live in quarantine with. See, that was fun.
Yeah, let us know.
There was a couple more choices, but that worked out evenly. So
yeah. That's fun. I like
all
it.
Right. What are we talking about?
We got some news.
I've been watching quite a bit of movies.
Okay.
Save Martha! Puny God.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm Batman.
Kneel before Saul! On the roof!
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So what's it gonna be, huh? Long sullen silence? Or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
Obviously, everything's changed. They're changing dates on everything. They said Mission Impossible 7 and 8 had been delayed, that was one of the first franchises that shut down in February. They were one of the first films to stop filming. So they've been delayed 6 months. From 7 came out July 21. This movie was November 21. And then 8 from August 20 and the 2022 to November of 2022. So these were big summer blockbusters are now fall movies. I don't know.
I hope those dates hold at least.
Yeah, if Venom 2 got delayed from October of 2020 to June of 2021, and we got a title for it.
Yes.
Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
I love that title.
You are the biggest Venom movie fan here.
Yeah, it was so dumb and good. It was a good, so bad it's good movie.
Let There Be Carnage. It works. I don't know why.
Exactly what I wanted. If there wouldn't have been a colon in there, I'd have been mad.
And I forgot it's being directed by Andy Serkis. Did we know that? I forgot.
I think we mentioned that once, but
another director confirmed. Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently in February it got out that was happening, but no one he would not confirm it. But just this week he said something about I'm working on this movie. It's like, wait, you've never said that before. So it became news all over again that he's definitely the director.
Right.
That's set for May 7th, 2021. So if there is a free comic book day next year, that'll be the big free comic day movie, Doctor Strange. And then there was a thing going around about the plot hole of Back to the Future has been addressed. Did you see any of that stuff?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it made a couple headlines, but
oh yeah, about remembering him. Why didn't they remember that kid? That's stupid. I never even thought twice about that.
So yeah, James Gunn and Chris Pratt were tweeting about quote unquote perfect movies, and that Back to the Future should fit that. But they said, well, but there's one gaping plot hole: is how do George and Lorraine not remember they met their kid in high school? So that wrote Bob Gale, the screenwriter, into it. He had to explain, like his quote was, they only knew him for 8 days when they were 17. It's like, do you remember perfectly what everyone in your high school looked like, and how would you remember? And he said he personally thought it would be more bizarre that they knew someone named Calvin Klein when he reached fame. But that just reminded me, I always thought the biggest plot hole, George would definitely remember the name Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So when Star Wars came out, what happens to George's head in that theater? When he, the most important moment of his life, when he is visited by an extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan and told to follow his dreams. Does it like crush him? Does he think is this a lie or what? There's no way he doesn't remember Darth Vader. So I need Bob Gale to address that before I am satisfied.
Well, submit your thing. First, make yourself a huge star or director so people will listen to you.
Right, I forgot. We got to do that.
And ask.
You guys watching anything?
Movies? Or anything? Movies. Sure. Some odd things. They put The Mask of Zorro on Netflix. I'd never seen it. Oh, and people, I heard some murmuring, oh, this is such a great movie. I was like, really? I skipped it because it didn't look like
the original, like old school one, or
Antonio
Banderas.
Okay.
Tony Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, which this was basically her first thing. This is like what discovered her when I looked at the IMDb on it. And Anthony Hopkins. I'd just never seen it. And it's totally fine. I think people kind of went crazy here when it went on Netflix. They were like, oh, this is so great. I forgot how it's fun, but it's silly. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, if you hadn't heard of that, it's on Hulu. It's a dramatic movie. It's very good. I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's pretty good. And I don't know if there's anything. We watched, Apollo 13 the other day. Nick had never seen it. That movie's pretty square.
Yeah.
I remember this being really, it's a highly lauded movie and such a great movie about that mission. And then I watched it and I was like, man, it feels dated as far as it just has no edge whatsoever. It's so straightforward.
Yeah, I watched First Man, about the Neil Armstrong movie. It was better than I thought it would be. I didn't expect much out of it, but
and it's a real dark, sad movie.
There's a couple of new movies out on HBO just debuted, including It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
We covered It pretty well when the original one came out. I don't remember any reactions to the sequel.
I remember saying, I think I said on the podcast that the Stephen King cameo was good. And he made a comment about it. It was very meta, him giving James McElroy was kind of playing his character, saying he didn't like the way his books ended or whatever.
Yeah, people kept dogging him for not being able to end the story.
Yeah.
The movie was 2 hours and 50 minutes. There are very few movies that need to be 2 hours and 50 minutes, and this was not one of them.
No.
Did you ever watch this one, Cliff?
No, I saw part 1, but I haven't watched part 2.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't hold my. I mean, 1 was, how many people dressed as Pennywise at Halloween, and like a huge event when 1 came out, but 2 just seemed to kind of come and go. I don't think it got quite the the critical love that one did. And HBO has Good Boys.
I'm having a party tomorrow. You in? Yeah. Can Thor and Locust come? They're so random. They're my best friends. We do everything together. This will meet girls at the party. You know what that means? Drama. No, kissing. You do not want to go to Soren's party not knowing how to kiss. We could spy on my neighbor. She's a total nymphomaniac. She starts fires? No, she's a nymphomaniac. Someone who has sex on land and sea. Ha.
This is what happens when you don't respect women.
I respect women. My mom's my best friend. What about me? My dad's gonna kill me. Chill. This is how we get the drone back.
Picture this.
You took my bag?
Don't get any closer.
Oh my God, there's Molly in there.
Okay, who's Molly? Because she's not with us.
Sweet Jesus.
Just give us our Molly.
Nobody scream, nobody get choked.
We're not crossing a highway. Are we fifth graders or are we sixth graders?
I am crack. I ain't lying. Kick a lion in this crack.
Here's the plan. I'm gonna go to the party with a beer so everyone knows that I'm cool.
What do you have in your pants?
It's been like this ever since I was a baby. It's kind of embarrassing.
I'm guessing you're not the popular kids in school. Hmm?
Nobody scream, nobody get choked.
Oh yeah.
The sixth grade kids having an adventure trying to get to a party, sort of the very young version of Superbad or one of those type shows. Jacob Tremblay is the only kid I'd recognize, the kid from Room and Wonder. Adorable little kids doing dirty things, but not always quite knowing what they're saying or doing. Mm. So they're very naive about the world around them. So that, I don't know, it was decent. It wasn't the best comedy I've seen this year.
We watched on Disney Plus. They added Disney Nature's Elephant. So we like these movies. This one was narrated by Meghan Markle, the Duchess of is it Sussex, something like that. So, anyways, Prince Harry's wife. But it was good. It entertained us. We like those Disney nature movies, so we were kind of excited when it popped up. Oh, hey, something different to watch during the quarantine. So, yeah, definitely recommend that.
Well, I have a documentary you should not watch.
Okay.
Planet of the Humans. I saw Michael Moore on a talk show promoting this. And he was just the executive producer. He didn't really have a whole lot to do with it. It was a guy named Jeff Gibbs, who had worked on several Michael Moore's movies. But this Gibbs guy wrote and directed this whole thing. And it was in a few film festivals last year, but they just released it for the first time wide. It's on YouTube right now for free, the whole movie. I think it's about an hour and 40 minutes. So it was released on Earth Day. So this is a documentary about our planet at the moment. And our planet is not in good shape. And this was a super depressing movie. Its own website describes it as an eco-documentary taking a harsh look at how the environmental movement has lost the battle through well-meaning but disastrous choices. So Michael Moore is a very divisive figure, but I usually enjoy his documentaries. There's humor in them. He usually ends on an upbeat note of how, if we all come together, we can fix these problems, and it's just up to us to save the day. This is not that movie. This movie is not upbeat. It has no solutions. I will. You can't really spoil a documentary. The last shot of the movie, though, I will tell you this, is a dying orangutan laying on the ground, like gasping for breath. So if you can't handle that, this movie is not for you. But I wasn't quite sure what I was in for, but it was basically attacking environmentalists and saying it's either too complacent or the things they're doing aren't right. Like, wind and solar is going to save everything. Well, to build a solar panel, we have to use all this equipment and all these fossil fuels to install them and build them and the manufacturing of them. And then if you want them to store the juice, you got to build batteries that, it's the rare earth metals that, kids in Africa have to mine out of these mines with their bare hands. So there's like, it's these terrible tolls even the best green technology takes on us. And then it diverts into the like corporate side of things and how all the people making money off this, where if you can just say something's green, you know, they had a whole bunch of like press releases of, you know, the new Apple factory is 100% green energy. The new Tesla motors, you know, assembly line, it's 100% renewable. And it's like none of them are. They all have to feed into the grid because we just don't have the technology yet. So they're not truthful, but then they get all these tax breaks and there's all these kickbacks, and the people lobbying for this stuff are maybe don't have the best interests at heart. So it's all the same people pulling strings behind the scenes who are making money off fossil fuels can say, yeah, well, we're green now. We're going to make money off this. So it's really depressing, but there has been some backlash. It had over 1 million views in the first 24 hours. So it's become a topic at the moment. But there's critics have been calling it like eco-fascism, and that his only solution is population control. So there's like eugenic. He's calling for a eugenics experiment. We need less humans is the only way to fix the planet. So like, I don't know. It's the documentary is very harsh, but I can see there is some criticism that maybe not every detail is exactly right, and there has to be some hope out there. So I don't know. I'm not going to take it as gospel, but there's definitely been some controversy around it, and people saying, you know, it needs to be either re-edited or some things changed about it because it might not be 100% factual. But as just a piece of work to stir up emotion, it was very successful at that, as just a very powerful view of where we're standing right now.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
You got you got anything else for movies? No?
That's all right.
You got any TV? Streaming?
There's always TV.
TV?
Did you guys, either of you, watch Middleditch and Schwartz?
I promise you that I can protect you from what's behind that door. Terrible things. Things that will scar you forever. I'm sort of turning Werner Herzog now.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Thomas Middleditch.
That's Ben Schwartz.
We're Middleditch and Schwartz. Yeah. Everything will be made up on the spot. Every character, every sentence, everything in the universe. We don't know what will happen. We're going to ask the audience a question, a prompt, if you will, and that will be the inspiration for our show. Oh, no, I hit your microphone a little bit. Oh, no, I hit your microphone a lot of it.
Are you best man?
I don't know that we know.
You're my best man. I need you to do me a favor.
Yes.
Your best man?
Yes.
My first semester of law school.
A legally binding.
I'm going to get an email when the job interview is.
You're a gazelle. You're a gazelle and you want this job, don't you, gazelle? Are you hungry, you little gazelle? Show me what you eat.
I don't want
Show me what you eat.
It is so good. I don't remember the last thing I just sat and laughed out loud the whole time watching it. Do you have any idea what it is? It's a Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley and Ben Schwartz from Parks and Rec, and they do a long form improv. They both worked in improv for years, and they've been working together doing this long form, it just improv of like almost an hour. There's 3 episodes on Netflix that they recorded and put out. They're all good, where they just have a audience and ask a question and get some information from a person, talking about something going on in their life. You get several facts about it, enough to come up with something, and then they just, improvise it on the spot for like the next 45 minutes, act out the story. The only props they have are 2 chairs, and they use them for so many different things. And they play like 1 million different characters. It's all made up on the spot. They change who they'll each play characters the other person has played during it. They just keep going off of each other, and they're just fantastic. It's so good. I'm sure it isn't for everybody, but I'm so impressed by it, and I'm anyone that's skeptical about, you know, the made up on the spot. I'm all in, but it's totally believable to me. Because you could see how you could improvise all of this. It's just they're really good at it, you know. And it gets silly, and it just when they realize things that they're going to tie together, even accidentally, as they are telling the story, it's just so fun. So I highly recommend you check it out. I think it gets better throughout, but you kind of have to build. You just you're really 3 hours, but try an hour anyway if you have any interest.
I finished. I mentioned it earlier. I finished just the other day that Food That Made America docu-series on the History Channel, and it was so good.
On the next episode of The Food That Built America, a small-time candy maker named Milton Hershey hits on a big idea.
I don't want to hear about how they do it in Europe. I'm using fresh milk.
That'll build an American empire.
It's chaos out there.
And a father and son duo named Frank and Forrest Mars forge a dynasty that'll rival Hershey's and tear their family apart.
Help! Help!
An outdoorsman named Clarence Birdseye joins forces with serial empire scion Marjorie Post.
I'm not interested in owning 3/4 of anything.
To introduce the nation to frozen food.
How much for the rest?
Ruthless tactics lead to an all-out cereal war.
I'm gonna bury you.
A gun-slinging Kentucky businessman rises from a gas station kitchen.
I made you a promise. You remember what I said?
To become an American icon. And the McDonald brothers turn the restaurant kitchen into an assembly line.
Those are done. Flip them. Let's go.
I love these things. And you know, the names we know, like I mentioned, names we know, but we don't know the backstory. And they got into Colonel Sanders and Birdseye and Birdseye Frozen Food and more.
Swans?
No, not yet. Maybe season 2. I'm hoping. But yeah, but so many of these, you know, catalogs and stuff I talked about before, but man, that episode 3 was just maybe the strongest episode of them all. I really highly enjoyed it. Just what happened with these family companies and labor disputes and wars between the two companies, and, you know, Mars and Hershey chocolate, all that stuff. So yeah, it was really, really, really good. So
I can't decide which of you guys is fun ass documentaries to watch first. Well, the best things I've watched. Okay, Saul, Better Call Saul, season 5 ended. Was amazing. It's the eternal question. I know you haven't watched this, Cliff. You didn't watch Breaking Bad either, did you? Mm-mm. But I mean, there's a lot of people, like I've said before, that claim Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. I think that's a lot of hooey, because the first couple seasons of Better Call Saul were just fine. They were fine. But they're at another level now. They're up there killing it. And the tension of what will happen to Kim Wexler is the question of all media.
It's why I'm not sleeping right now. It's keeping me up every night.
Yes. And the turn of events of what is happening in this last episode, the turn of the way her character is going was not on my radar. It was not on my radar. I just kept expecting her to have had enough of his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to try and stay vague, but yeah, because that's this is a prequel. We all know where Saul Goodman ends up. Well, they introduce a love interest, so the question is automatically, what happened to her? So everyone's, did they kill her? Does she leave him? And then as this season has built, what happened wasn't out of left field. It wasn't out of character, but it was also just like, I never thought of that. It was a question we've been asking for 5 seasons, but never thought of this as one of the answers.
Right. And until the episode before last, I thought this was the last season. I missed the announcement or something in January, or I forgot that there was going to be a sixth season. So I was like, how are they going to wrap this up? And so I'm thrilled. And they announced yesterday that they're going to have 13 episodes, supposedly. And if they can, everything works out, it's supposed to come out next year, but more than likely it'll be the year after that. But whatever. This is the show I am the most invested in. It's amazing. So good.
I would have liked, knowing we have such a long way, I would have liked a little more closure on at least one of the side stories.
Yeah.
But we didn't get it. Everything's kind of left hanging. So we have a ways to wait, and it's the best thing on TV at the moment.
Meanwhile, Westworld was announced. I thought this was going to be the last season, and I was totally okay with that. And now, not only is it renewed for a fourth season, there's rumors of a fifth and a sixth season. And I don't know if there's ever been a show more high on their own supply than Westworld. Like,
I can't. I don't know if it's my mood and world outlook right now, but like the most recent episode, I almost fell asleep during it. I'm not invested in this anymore.
I don't think I've watched the last 2 episodes.
The twist that you guys, I don't know if you're caught up to the twist or whatever, but who the balls were, and everybody's had.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
We finally know the brain balls are called pearls.
Yeah, but what I know, last time we talked about it, Jordan knew what at that time, I think, but I hadn't watched that yet. I liked that twist. Yeah. I thought that was good. So I'm still in there, and I haven't totally given up. But where could they possibly go from here? They've changed it each season. They followed this thread. It's like, where can you even go from here? It's going to be ridiculous, whatever it is. There's a show, Devs, I know I mentioned before, on Hulu that kind of takes the same concept and does it. It's the Alex Garland, and it's just takes it in a much more subdued, chill way, and isn't all this crazy blockbuster stuff that Westworld wants to do. I don't know.
Westworld, it was very heady and thoughtful, but there was also a story going on with action and heroes and villains. Like, they've kind of forgotten. So even if you didn't understand the plot or the time maneuvering, and I barely followed what was going on, but I still liked it because there was some interesting stuff happening. This season, it's all just theory and people trying to decide fate and all this stuff. And I don't know that especially the first season, the idea of loops, being stuck in your loop, like, what a great metaphor. Mm-hmm. And these characters are in this theme park, like, oh, it's such a great setting for these thoughts about life and structure of our lives. And this season's like, yeah, we're controlled by corporations, man. And it's like, it's such a generic metaphor that's just not landing for me whatsoever.
Yeah, the emotion is gone from it, and they're too crazy. I'm still invested, but they need to straighten up. Straighten up, Westworld.
I'm still watching. I'm still curious what happens. But this used to be the show you didn't miss, and now it's like, I guess there's a new Westworld on.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get to it.
Well, you guys turned me a couple episodes ago or so. You guys turned me on to Dave on Hulu FXX.
I really pulled the rug out from under you on this last episode.
Wow. We weren't sure if it was a Cliff show or not. We were kind of on the fence on whether it was a Cliff show. So
we love it.
Okay.
I kind of praised it through text this last the second to penultimate, I know what it means, episode of the season, episode 9 of this first season, and after I went crazy, I loved the ending so much. I told Nick, I was like, oh, I forgot.
Dave, we don't
this
have time.
Episode kind of hits all points. Like,
yeah.
I totally forgot about the thing that happened in the middle of the episode, but that ending,
highbrow and lowbrow.
Yeah. When that episode started,
I can't stop.
Dave,
do it with me.
I'm leaving.
Have it your way. I know I'm late, but it's okay.
No.
'cause I threw out that flyer.
That was not a flyer, I told you.
Yes, it was.
No, it was.
And they were doing the auto-tune thing. I was like, this is amazing. I was watching, I was like, I love this.
Dance with me.
Yes, of course, I love you, but we really gotta go right now.
Fine, it was fun while it lasted.
I know that's scripted, but they made it feel so organic anyway.
That was high art. Oh my god!
I just loved it, and I was like, that is really cool. That just them riffing, and it sounds really cool.
Can I use this on my album as an interlude?
The callback at the end, and just how everything had a different meaning upon replay was just fantastic, and his reaction to it.
Yeah,
I was blown away by that.
Well, my DVR, I have it recorded an extra couple minutes because most shows cut off the end. So I had watched, at the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And at the end, I'm already feeling kind of emotional. And then the show ended, and I had already recorded the first few minutes of the episode again.
Yeah.
So that scene was on again. So I rewatched that opening scene. I'm like, oh, you don't know what you have, man. Like I was already like it was cool to rewatch it immediately right after the episode ended.
Yeah, because I hadn't watched any of this, and then we just kind of binged it all last week. Alicia and I did, and at first we were kind of like, what is this show? And I don't know, and it's kind of out there a little bit. This is a weird guy. And but we kept watching it, and by the third episode we were like, I think we were both kind of like, yeah, this is great. I love this show. And in that last episode, I had read, because you had messaged us about episode 9, you just watched it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch this. So we sat down to watch it. I think that night or the next night. I think it was that next night. And I think it caught Alicia by surprise a little bit, just the whole tone of the show where it had been, because I think I had watched episode 8 and she had not, so we watched episode 8 and then right into 9, and she was just like, oh, she goes, why did Seth tell us to watch this? Like, this is awful. And I was like, well, you got to understand that he likes that emotional stuff. He wants some depth to the episode. She's like, oh my God, this is so sad. And I was like, yeah, it was a pretty great episode.
It was great.
And of course, the lowbrow stuff for me was, I was rolling.
When he said, I paused it and rewound when he said, oh shoot, what did he say?
I reinvented? Was that what he said?
No, this was Danny. He was like, you can't go back. You can't take it back or something. So like, I understand it. That was just so good.
Yeah, so good. But
the first minute of this show, I'm reminded of our friend at the Dueling Ogres. Does he not remind anyone else of Brandon from Dueling Ogres?
Yeah.
Like a little bit in the looks. I'm not comparing looks or anything, but like just the way he talks. I know Brandon best from his voice. He's a podcaster.
Yeah.
Like even the inflection this guy does, he sounds just like Brandon. He the way he makes a joke is the same way Brandon does. So
he's got something, that you want to watch. I mean, he the biggest twist to the whole thing is the first episode. Like the guy actually can do what his character is supposed to be able to do, and I'm like, he's got something, and he's totally watchable.
Definitely.
I love it.
But
I don't think we ever even explained. This is the FX show about Dave is an aspiring rapper.
Yeah,
and like
white rapper
must be somebody. Like we've had Justin Bieber, we had a Kardashian. There's a whole bunch of indie rappers who have cameoed. So he must be in the know.
Yeah, it surprised me. Like when I mentioned it to my son is 19. When I mentioned, I was like, "Oh, we're watching Dave," and he's like, "Who's that?" I was like,
Dave?
"Yeah, who's Dave?"
I
was like, "Lil Dicky." He's like, "Oh yeah," and like he knew all about him, and I was like, okay, what? Sure, but
that to me, beyond the comedy, is the interesting thing of like, is he Dave or is he Little Dicky? And it's navigating that world of trying to make yourself something else, but you can't be all things to all people. So there's some real depth to it.
Yeah.
And then just some very silliness and some raunchiness.
Yeah. It's the silliness would get me to watch. The depth is what makes me excited about it.
Sure. But that episode 8, when they're grilling out, they're cooking out, and the callback with the table.
Yeah.
Or just slowly sinks down.
That was great. That was great.
I was like, this is comedy greatness that I'm watching right now. Like that callback, I was just like, genius.
Yeah, that was excellent.
So funny.
I was wondering, I did sit there and think, who thought of that? Like, who, they just drag that out and say, what can we do with this? Couple other new things I've watched that started. There's a show on HBO called Run with Merritt Weaver and
I was curious about that one, whether it's worth a go or not.
I'd wait. It's too early to make a call. So far, it's fine, not blowing me away. But the forever husband, Rich Summer, is on there.
I saw his name in the credits, so I'm like, if things will get me to watch, it's Rich.
All he is like a voice on the phone, and having spoken to him on the phone, I recognized him right away. But it's fine so far. I know I've heard that it kind of takes some twists and turns that you don't expect, but so far I'm not over the moon about it. The other thing I watched was that Mrs. America with Cate Blanchett.
That was the next thing I was going to bring up. I haven't finished it yet. I think we watched 2 episodes.
They released 3 in the first week, and then they'll do 1 a week, I believe. I watched the first 3.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
It's kind of telling a story about the Equal Rights Amendment in the 70s, and it's a lot of stuff. I don't know all these details. I mean, I'm sure they're taking some liberties, but it's an interesting perspective. She's very on the Republican anti-ERA side. I assume that she'll become enlightened or something along the way, but
I should hope so.
It's very interesting.
Got a great cast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very good. Quality show.
And I got back to the show Kidding, the Showtime show with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
The second season came out a while ago. I had them all in my DVR, but hey, I'm getting this stuff I haven't got to.
Yeah, well, did we have a Showtime drop we were supposed to play there?
I got all the Showtime shows. The first season, this is Jim Carrey. He is a Mr. Rogers type children's entertainer. He has a land of make-believe with all these puppets, and he's the most wholesome person you've ever met. He tries to live his life loving everyone and being friends with everyone, but his life has taken some bad turns, and he's still trying to be that optimistic guy, but there's just these things inside of like, why is this not working? And he's had a lot of tragedy and heartbreak. So it's a comedy. It's just a half hour, but it's another one of those shows with a lot of depth and drama too. And the first season was decent. I liked it. I was curious what happened in the second one. The second season got really, really good. It was very strong. His sister is Catherine Keener. His dad, Frank Langella. Amazing performances. Judy Greer is his ex-wife, and she's normally a comedian, but she has some really strong dramatic parts. And there's an episode. This is the show. It's executive produced by Michel Gondry, Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind, and those kind of movies. So one of the 2 he directed this year. It was just an episode of his show. So it was an episode of Pickle Barrel Falls, where hey kids, welcome. And I remember Glow did that once, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. But this show nailed it so hard because he's estranged from his wife. They're separated, but they haven't officially divorced yet. So the whole season is him coming to terms with like we're gonna get divorced, and it's okay. We're our own separate people, and he's started to kind of say stuff on a show that people are like, you shouldn't say that in front of kids, but he thinks kids should know the truth. So it's a half hour of his puppet time show where he's explaining divorce, and he's waiting for his wife to come with these magical papers that'll send us on new adventures. And it's like some of the puppets, like their houses break and fall down. It's like, well, get the glue, we need to fix it. And the idea, he's like, sometimes glue doesn't hold. Sometimes glue's not enough. And it's like, this episode wrecked me.
Yeah.
And then one of the characters, his name's Hopscotch. He's a giant Sasquatch puppet, but all you ever see is his feet. So he's like, 50 feet tall. You just see his feet. Voiced by Dick Van Dyke. Comes out and sings a song. Dick Van Dyke sings a song about heartbreak.
I was a sad and lonely Sasquatch. I had no home, nowhere to be. You took me in, and then you changed that. You built a place for me. You hung the sky that I could stand in. You dreamed the canyon tree by tree. You built a place that makes me happy. You built a place for me.
I was like, all right, this show already had it. Yeah, right there, it went completely over the top. So, I just from out of nowhere, this show rocketed up my appreciation list. So, A+ for Kidding season 2.
Thank you, friend. Home is a place where people matter. Home is a place for family. You built my home, and that's what matters. You built a place for me.
I watched a tweet, a video of tweet post or Twitter post. Jeez,
get this. Cut all that out.
Oh my lord!
Too. What's the tweet? Twitter post? Better
yeah.
Barrel.
Dick Van Dyke singing to a cat the other day. I watched it like 5 times. I was just like, this is wonderful.
He's beautiful.
So, anything else?
I just want to mention one last thing. Watching Superstore this week, a commercial comes on for a new episode of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So, depending on when this episode gets edited, it might have already come out by now. But shock the world! They're for the doing a fundraiser for COVID-19 relief. The whole cast, the executive producer said he had the idea, emailed him, and said everyone got back to him within 45 minutes. Yes, I'm in. So they're recording it, from their homes. I'm sure it'll be through Zoom or Skype or something like that. So everyone's reprising their roles. It's set during the pandemic. The show, if you watch the show, it skipped into the future. So this is set during today. And it's Leslie determined, she's worried about her friends during the pandemic. So it's a show about the pandemic. So it's Leslie Knope, trying to take charge.
Yeah, I'm psyched.
Hero we need right now, Leslie Knope.
I'm ready for this. I think it's on the 30th, I believe. So I'm
Thursday, April 30th at 8:30 NBC.
Yeah, I will be tuned in.
Jordan, did you watch Conan's interview with Lin Manuel Miranda the other day?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Where Conan got him to just write a song right there on the spot, and he's like, Lin Manuel was like, so Conan, tell me what you did today. What was interesting? What was fun? And he's like, I don't know. I, talked to my kids. And so basically he wrote a song, Lin Manuel did, and played it just riffed it right off there, called Okay Boomer. And I just thought, man, it was great.
Yeah. Conan's definitely been one of the better talk show performances of this moment, doing interesting things. He got that guy, that Jordan Schlansky, the producer who always likes the tournament. He got him one of those remote things you leave in your house when you're away to talk to your dog.
Yeah.
shoots treats at you at them. So he can like, Jordan, I need this in your house at all times so I can keep track of you, and you can get, I can talk to you and keep track of you.
Yeah.
Last thing I have is still watching Survivor. It's great. An all-time episode happened this past week where a player that should not be being overlooked had like an all-time performance. Just did everything right. Even had obstacles thrown at him. People tried to really mess up his game, and he pulled off things that were just unbelievable. I think he's going to get voted out because he just had such a great showing, but it was awesome if you're a fan of Tony from Kage-On. And the last thing is the Michael Jordan documentary that they're putting out a couple every week for the next few weeks. I think there's like going to be 10 episodes, but they had the first 2 episodes last Sunday, and it should be every Sunday, a couple more, just telling, all framed around, it's called The Last Dance, all framed around the last season that the group was together for their final championship. And in 97, I believe. And it was just, it's all framed around it, but it goes back through the history of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And
hot take.
Like, what?
I hated those teams.
Those teams?
The Bulls. I'm not a Jordan fan at all.
Yeah. Where do you stand on Scottie Pippen?
Same. I didn't like any of those guys.
Well, and then I don't watch this.
I'm not.
But the rest of the world was into it. Like,
did
even
you
if
like
you were
Jordan?
He's amazing. He's cocky, but he's great. I like the Bulls. I like the Bulls. I like the Celtics. I like the Lakers. All that back then when they were those teams. I loved them.
Yeah, the Celtics and Lakers were great in the 80s. That was what I cut my teeth on in NBA basketball. I love those Showtime Lakers teams. Magic Johnson.
To watch this and a young Jordan coming in and playing against them and playing against his own management, that didn't want him to make the playoffs and, all that, limiting his minutes so they wouldn't, and him still finding a way, and things are just phenomenal. It's a great story to watch.
I'll say is he never won anything until all those teams were past their prime. The Celtics, the Lakers, the Pistons. He barely got by.
Hot take, and Cliff brought it tonight.
He barely got by the Cavaliers a couple times.
Yeah.
And I watched a little bit. I caught some of the second episode. It was like the injury in his second year.
Yeah.
Him coming back from that. It was interesting. And like you said, the footage of him just slicing through defenses and the ball rolling off his fingertips. Like it's pretty. No matter what you think of him, his play was pretty. But I've heard like he is one of like the producers of this, or his company. So it's not an objective look at warts and all, Chicago. It's like, it's going to paint him in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so they're not going to mention him betting on basketball and why he had to leave and go play baseball?
Yeah, and somebody was joking, I forget which, I was that Jesus and Mero show on Showtime. You should check it out.
Yeah, that's a good show.
It's great.
Never heard of it.
But they were showing the clip from it of him talking about, they were called the Cocaine Cowboys or whatever. Yeah. He's like, I walked into a room and I'd never seen anything like that before. It's like, really, Michael, you didn't partake in any of the excesses. So it's going to paint him as the saint, and the marketable guy. Hanes Underwear can still hire me. They're not going to. There's not going to be any dirt.
But I will say, he has a lot. He gives a lot of credit to other people too. Like, he has a lot of love for the people on his team and stuff. So I like what he had to say about Scotty, and I like that they were showing the things that Scotty had to go through and how low paid he was. And, it's just, you're right. It's not going to be, it's not an expose. This is a feel good story of how management was terrible and, made this team be finished.
What good's a documentary if it doesn't make you want to curl up into a ball?
Exactly. I'm sorry I wasn't able to finish it off with the trifecta of, sad, hard-nosed documentaries here. I don't know if that's the way you would explain. I don't know if that's how you'd explain the food documentary.
No.
That's how I heard it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you're staying safe out there. We hope you're following all the guidelines. Keep a distance. Wear a mask. Be
Drink your
cool to each
bleach.
other. Be patient.
Drink your bleach. Stick your flashlight up your butt. Whatever it takes.
No, we're gonna have to come out and put it like an asterisk. Like,
No,
does not recommend.
They'll be dead already.
All right, so let us know what house you want to live in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come hang out with me and Jesse and Pepitas and Corbin.
I got to tell you, I don't know about my house.
I don't either.
I don't know. When I saw your house, Cliff, I was like, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
You had all the people.
That's right. Oh, shoot.
All right.
Thank you, everyone out there, for listening. We will catch you shortly. Once again, my name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share. Where's the music?
Yeah.
Oh, running out of time. We will end in 10 minutes.
Hey, take that, Zoom.
Yeah, eat that.
We're not giving you any more shout outs if you're not giving us 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.